Oh, this thing's a little weird. I don't know how to arrange it. New setup and all, new place. What's up, Bills fans? It's been a long time. Actually, not too long. I did one for my phone since moving into the new place. But yep, today we learned something we all pretty much had a feeling was going to happen. Prior to the 2018 opener, Nathan Peterman was named starting quarterback. Pretty much in the Josh Allen was named starting quarterback before the third preseason game. Just got an announcement via Twitter, if you will, officially from the team, naming him starting quarterback. And that was it. It's a pretty tight ship over there at One Bills Drive anymore. There's really no leaks, no drips or drabs coming out of that building anymore. So Nathan Peterman's a starting quarterback. I have no problem with it. I said from the word go, whoever the rookie quarterback is, I mean, I understand if they started Allen, of course, but I definitely understand why they want to start Nathan Peterman. Also, they want to find out what they have in Nathan Peterman. He's an unproven commodity, and he's been very, very professional despite all the national naysayers and just constant jabs about the 5 INT game. It's like every time they preface everything they say about the guy with that, and it's like, okay, how about the touchdown pass he threw in the blizzard that most networks constantly replay when it comes to likening weather to the Buffalo, Western New York area, which is not always that way, obviously. Yeah, so Nathan Peterman, he's a very, very motivated guy. You could just tell, like, he's got this underlying fire about him, like his motivation. He's ready to go out there and prove some people wrong, and he's ready to go out and just dispel all that 5 INT game. And granted, he has his faults. I'm not saying he's the perfect product or he's maybe even the ideal situation, but it is what it is. I would rather see Nathan Peterman than another season of Tyrod Taylor holding a placeholder for like a Baker Mayfield. Well, they don't. The Cleveland fans don't know about Tyrod. So, but for us as Bills fans, if we would have had to sit through another season of Tyrod waiting on Josh Allen, it would have been like, okay, we've seen the show before. Please get Josh Allen out there. No, I want to go out there. I want to see what Nathan Peterman can do. I'm happy for him too, Trevor John. I really am. He looks, like he's a very even-keeled guy. He doesn't get too high, too low, even after that disaster in San Diego, which wasn't all of his own doing. I mean, we can relive that, the pick 6 right off of DeMarco's hands, and it just snowballed from there. And they lose Benjamin, so it was the perfect storm of crap. But that's over and done with. And the Bills got him here. Here in New Era, the second game of the year, and that's, I'm sure Peterman has that circled on his calendar. I really do. Oh, of course I've seen it, Zachary. I put it on Twitter. You know what you're going to get. Adam Shine, not even 2 minutes after that happened. Oh, poor Bills fans, and he goes on this big rant. And I'll say this, like, you see a guy like him who's New York based, like a lot of these guys, they're very nationally based, whether it's New York or LA. Like NFL Network, LA, Fox, LA, CBS, NBC, New York, a lot of the radio shows, same deal, syndicated. And it's, oh my God, what are they doing? No, that was just going to be my point, Trevor John, is they haven't watched, this guy hasn't watched one down of football, one down of Bills football, and he's just taking his cues from whoever. Maybe he watches a few, and it's just going back to last year. I bet he hasn't watched one down of Bills football that it wasn't on a highlight reel, because a lot of these guys are prepped and primed before their shows to talk about whatever, and they have a big packet of info that they spiel through and that they're briefed and prepped on to make them look like the shit. There's no way one person can be that ingratiated in the sports, unless you're like Mike Francesa, who's like got 20 TVs in front of him and is watching pretty much everything. That's why it's a sports boat. But nevertheless, I'm excited for this opener. I really am. I'm not nervous. I'm not quaking in my boots. Like, people talk about Baltimore like they're the defending Super Bowl champion Baltimore of 2000 with this wrecking crew defense. And, I'm not afraid of Joe Flacco. I'm not afraid of the Bills defense having to defend Joe Flacco. I'm not really afraid of any of their skill position players. I'm not horrified of their defense. Remember all that optimism going into 2016? Tyrod's another year in the system, all the weapons and all this and that, and Sammy's foot was hurt and all this other crap, and nobody wanted to talk about it. And they go into Baltimore and score 7 points. Remember that? Rashard Perryman, who, how funny, he's going to be working out for the Buffalo Bills either tomorrow or Wednesday. Catches a 50-yard pass on Stephon Gilmore. They go in the score. I think Mike Wallace had a long touchdown in that game, pulling away from Duke Williams. So, yeah, the defense gave up 13 points. The offense scored 7. And then, a week later, Roman gets fired. So, again, I take it all as it comes. It's one game at a time, which they haven't done yet, and this is part of the journey. The journey is the reward, and everybody wants to be the prognosticator and give out records and wins and losses and picking the Bills and all this. No, I want to sit down and watch the game because I want to watch the game. That's the way you tell if your team is good, bad, or indifferent. Depends on health, honestly. It depends on health, Zachary. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on play. It depends on health. I could see Baker starting because I think Hugh Jackson's going to get fired very soon. And we all know Tyrod's deficiencies. But who knows? Nate Peterman goes down and then Allen's in there. So, but you're talking about starts. It's tough. It's tough. I think it's a toss-up. It really is. It's a toss-up who starts first. But those two guys are definitely going to get a start this year. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And if Peterman plays well, the way this Bills brass thinks and the way they operate, they'll just view that as beneficial towards Allen. They'll view it as beneficial. Hey, we're winning games. We're finding out good things about Peterman, and Allen has more and more time to settle in, chill out, just take a breath and learn and develop certain aspects of his game that they want him to work on and not be pressed into action in a disadvantageous position or time. That they'll just view that and will view that as beneficial as Bills fans. So I'm not, oh my God, woe is me, because guys, brace yourselves. It was a little bit of a slow news day because of Labor Day, the holiday. Plus, I was sorry. It's a new place. You guys know I had the fire at the old place, and it's got to be redone and all kinds of stuff like that. But, National News Day slow. Wait till tomorrow. Wait till tomorrow. You're going to hear it. Oh, my God, Nathan Peterman. What kind of guy did the Bills draft? Did they trade up for? Yada, yada, yada. Honestly, I don't know what to think of him, man. He was efficient in the preseason, but he was a lot of dink and dunk. He looks like he's a good guy. He's a good young guy. He's not going to embarrass the Jets. He's not going to be the Mark Sanchez act that was here. I'm in New Jersey. I don't know. I think he's going to be a turnover machine in the pros. Not so much with INTs, but with fumbles. Just the way he holds the ball. When he gets pressure, the ball drops right in front of him. He just kind of holds it like a loaf of bread. And I could just see defensive linemen being coached up to just start swatting at that ball. And it'll be hopefully, the more good young quarterbacks is good as many teams. I hope every team in the division beats New England once, including us. How about that? So that's what I hope. Because that, I know it's crazy to say this, but instead of just playing for the wild card, maybe one day they can play for the division. Because I'm just playing for one potential spot instead of two. Really hamstrings the Bills badly. So they definitely need to do their end, which they haven't done much of, as opposed to the other teams in the division. They got to beat that team. And this year, we'll see how they play against them. They look like they're in a little bit of a decline, but you never know. Oh, honestly, I think he's a year-to-year guy now. I think he's a year-to-year guy. He could be one done after this year, depending on how it goes and how he plays. He could all of a sudden erode. Who knows? He could fall off a cliff. Quarterbacks don't have a decline. They have a cliff. There is no decline. It is a cavernous drop-off where they go. Look at Peyton Manning. I've seen many quarterbacks. They show up one week, and they are no longer that guy. They're just a guy walking around with the jersey on. That's it. And that could happen to him. I mean, the age, the amount of games, the beating he's taken. Yeah, I mean, that'll be it. I don't root for injuries, but that'll probably be it. I think so. I think at this point, the family pressure I think he's enduring from wife and the kids wanting him to be around and all this stuff, I think it's pretty obvious what's coming very soon. Yeah, Zach, his last game was terrible. It was a 60, I think it was a 62. I watched that game. I remember watching the game live, 62-10, 62-7, Jacksonville playoffs. Mark Brunell, Jay Fiedler, just destroyed. You definitely not the same quarterback. He wasn't Dan Marino. But we're not here to talk about Dan Marino. We're here to talk about the Bills. And what are you guys excited for? I'm excited to see, just this team, all the young guys. I want to see Tremaine Edmonds, who's really looking good in the second half of the last game against Cincinnati. He really started to, even in the first half, there was little glimpses, but in the second half, he was just going all over the place and making plays. Peterman came back in and made it respectable. Allen was put in a pretty tough spot. I don't think he played as bad as most people thought. Maybe he did hold on to the ball once or twice. The O-line didn't help him out, but you got no Shady. Clay didn't do him any favors dropping a pass. Benjamin didn't do him any favors dropping a pass. So, yeah, I'm shocked that more Bill. I mean, I said I put out a suicide watch for some Bills fans because Brandon Riley, who some Bills fans talk about, is like the second coming of Steve Largent, Jordy Nelson. Yes, I am naming white wide receivers, obviously. And Wes Walker combined. Oh, my God, they released this guy. He wasn't claimed, by the way. So that just goes to show what the league thinks about him. Nick O'Leary has not found a spot on a roster yet. Granted, it's early, but still, there's certain players I've come to find over the years that a lot of fan bases, and being a Bills fan, they're just like, oh my God, they're like little old lady hoarders with these players. They're like, that's their knickknack, and they don't want to let it go for nothing. Don't touch my knickknack. And Nick O'Leary and Brandon Riley represented that. And O'Leary made a play or two. That's it. I mean, I'm more excited to see what Jason Kroon brings. Athletic, hybrid, modern tight end with size and speed, and it's a mismatch option. I thought Logan Thomas was making some nice catches in the last preseason game. Yes, last preseason game against guys who aren't in the league, but still, that's exciting. What are you guys' thoughts about the trade, McCarron trade? I was not shocked by it at all. I saw it coming. I didn't think that they would keep, just from a rep standpoint, because you can't rep 3 quarterbacks. There's no way you have, and plus when you have a young quarterback, and let's be honest, Peterman's a young quarterback too. He's not some seasoned veteran. He needs as many reps as he can get. So Allen, we all know, needs all the reps. But what are you going to do? Granted, they ate some dead money with McCarron, but they recouped a 5th-round pick. He's just going to sit there and be a glorified cheerleader. You don't need that. And we heard today Allen's going to be getting all the reps. Roy is the starting center. And don't dispel that whole schmozzle of rotating center quarterback exchange for a lot of the offensive line woes. Don't. Granted, losing Wood incognito hurts. I'm not going to not underscore that. But when you have a different cadence to the line from both center, and then you have a different cadence from 3 different quarterbacks, that makes it tough for the rest of the line to be cohesive and gel. You got two different centers, sounding different, maybe enunciating things different, and you have three quarterbacks with three different cadences, and two of them young, all learning a new offense. So I don't discount that as not helping the offensive line situation. So yeah, Harrison Phillips is a young side. There's a lot of newness on this team. I was looking, there's 23 or 25 new, anywhere between 23 to 25 new guys on this 53. And that includes some guys they picked up midstream last year, like, Kelvin Benjamin, Marcus Murphy, and a couple other guys. There's a few of those guys in there, but there's a lot of newness. There's a lot of youth. I saw a stat where it was the Raiders who were the oldest team, and the Bills were like sixth oldest, but they're really top heavy with their age. All guys that are probably going to be in there last year with the Bills, like Lorenzo Alexander, Kyle Williams, and a couple other guys. There's not many 30-somethings, LaShawn McCoy being a 30-year-old guy, but Kyle and Lorenzo are 35. So there's not much age on this team the way there is at some others. So, and another draft pick to play with. They have a first. They kept their first, the second, the third, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, a sixth, and 2 sevenths. And, the Khalil Mack trade. I was not a fan of the Bills exploring that whatsoever. I wanted no part of that trade, given I've seen what happens to these defenders who get these $100 million contracts, and then all of a sudden, a year and a half in, you're really regretting it. You're really regretting it. Look at Houston with J.J. Watt. Look at the Bills with Mario Williams, and Ndamukong Suh, Albert Hainsworth, who was the first to got a big, defender that got a big $100 million contract. That is just bad business. Mack, great player, went to UB. He's not from Buffalo. Everybody was like, bring Mack home. He's from Fort Pierce, Florida. He's not from Buffalo, but he's a low-key guy. I can understand why the fans would want him, but I was not interested in that, given the fact you have to give him all that money and then part with draft picks. Why do Oakland a favor? No, thank you. Hope he does well in Chicago, though, but I wasn't interested in the Bills exploring that whatsoever. I want to see them go into next year, and I don't even want to talk about next year, but it's exciting in part for this season, but also there's some future. There's a big boatload of money coming. There's a fully loaded draft with some extras on the side. So that's exciting. We need to see them go out there and play well. We need to see the young guys grow and shine and go play well. That's it. Baltimore. What are your thoughts on Baltimore? Anything? I'm not sitting here worried about Baltimore. I'm interested to see if they implement Lamar Jackson in any way, shape, or form. Do they use him in some sort of weird package, or they just basically don't want to confuse him, keep him as a quarterback, maybe RG3 in that role. But then again, he's an injury case, so he doesn't really scare me. Saw him like 2 years ago in Buffalo with the Browns, was not wowed by him. I think they can beat Baltimore too. I don't understand this fear of Baltimore. I think people try to, when they talk about teams, they talk about them. Baltimore hasn't been Baltimore for a few years now, and Flacco's play has declined quite a bit. So I'm not worried about them. The next week in Buffalo is going to be interesting. The opener with San Diego, but San Diego's tricky. They're one of those teams. They'll shine 1 week, then they'll go out 1 week and lay an egg. And I've seen it where, Rivers has one of those games where he makes a lot of boneheaded plays, or during the course, he's playing well. Then he has a turnover streak, or he makes a key turnover in a key spot. I mean, go look at him. His record in the playoffs is not good. I've seen it. I mean, granted, he's beat the Bills pretty good the last few times they played, so I can't dispel that. He's really taken it to the Bills the last 3 times, once in Buffalo and twice once in San Diego, once in LA. So we'll see how. Hopefully that's different, and I hope Peterman comes out highly motivated for that game, because I think the whole team, I think McDermott will have that team ready to roll against them and remind them, show them tape. Look what happened. Look what happened last year against this team. This is your home field. You're going to let them come in here and just relive this memory, or you're going to make them have to go home with their own personal nightmare, the way we had to go home last year, or us Bills fans had to suffer throughout the week and hear about that 5 INT game, putting Tyrod back in, the whole national embarrassment. Oh yeah, Embedded's great. I loved it. I liked it. It was good. I thought it was well done. I think there's one more episode day after tomorrow on Wednesday or something. I think they come out on Wednesdays on Facebook. So yeah, I'm interested to see what the final one has to bring. The 53 obviously was announced yesterday, or day before yesterday, along with the waiver claims yesterday. Ryan Lewis, and the punter's name I cannot pronounce. I cannot pronounce the punter's name. Robert Foster was a bit of a surprise for me. I didn't see him making the 53. Corey Coleman not making it was not a big deal to me. I wasn't up in arms over the 7th round pick in 2020 ham sandwich trade. I was not like, oh my God, what's $2 million of dead money on the boatload of money that this team has had to suck on because of the prior regime. But next year is when their clock really does start. Allen will be in year 2. This regime will be in year 3. They'll have fully loaded draft and all the money. So their time is really going to start. They're gonna get younger. They're going to get younger. So again, I think let's all see how they do, guys. We'll see how they do. You guys are doing very, thanks, Zach, Trevor, John, Matthew. I'm sorry, I'm missing Zachary. You guys are going at it in the chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm trying to keep up. It's just so much to talk about, and it's going to come around quick. It's this time next week. Hopefully, feels like a Sunday, doesn't it? Hopefully, this time next week we'll be talking about a Bills win. Hopefully, that's what we'll be doing at this time next week. I'll do one of these. I don't know whether I should do a live post game or halftime, or should I do both? I'm not sure. I'm thinking about doing both, but we'll see how it goes. I know a lot of people are at the stadium or they're doing their own thing, so I'll see how it happens. Oh, you'll be at Disney World, bro? Come on, you follow it on your phone. Follow it on your phone. Bills only play 16 times a year. Disney World's going to be there forever. I don't know how much more time I have, but thanks, guys. I appreciate you coming on, chatting with me. It's a holiday. I didn't expect many people, but you guys, Trevor and Matthew and the others, Zachary, who were in here chatting with me, I appreciate it. I really hope we're talking about a win this week. I want to see an exciting game. I want to see them go out there and play well. And I know there'll be some bumps and there'll be some little hiccups regular season, but hopefully they play really, really well. And they go out and they prove a lot of people wrong and they shock some people. I won't be that shocked if they beat Baltimore, but I know, how everybody is. There's the doom and gloom guys on WGR and, the Buffalo media, some of them, that everything's always woe is me. They were killed for the drought for so long that all of a sudden those same guys said they would have been better off if they were 5-11 or so they didn't have to trade drag. They want it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You either want the drought's an embarrassment and they thank God it's over, or they need to take the tank approach. You need to. It's like the same guys who condemned the tank from the Sabres wanted the Bills to do it. Talking out of both sides of their mouth, cut their nose off to spite their face. I hate that shit. Reporting in sports has gotten really, really bad. Really, really bad. There's a lot of guys out there making it about them and not about the things they're writing or reporting on. They're just trying to pump up their own brand, their own image, and move on to the next big thing. And they don't care about this the way we care about it. Granted, a lot of us take it personal sometimes, but these guys don't care. They're about themselves and their own interests, and that's why I don't respect a lot of them. Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of running the ball outside looking in, but you know what? That's what this team is going to do with young quarterbacks. So they're going to run the ball. You look at the history of teams with young quarterbacks. So RG3, when he had his rookie of the year, they ran the ball a lot. Russell Wilson, they ran the ball a lot, including him running. Um, Ben Roethlisberger, they ran the ball a lot. I mean, Phillip Rivers had LaDainian Tomlinson. Why not run the ball? You know, they do need to throw. They do need to be a better passing offense, no doubt about that. They definitely, in order to take the next step, whether it's Peterman, Allen, they need to be a better passing offense. And then, McCoy, I trust McCoy to be McCoy. And I'm excited to see Marcus Murphy. Even the violent style of Chris Ivory is exciting as opposed to the, lugging style of poor Mike Tolbert. I don't want to beat on him no more. Nice guy, but my God, it was painful watching him carry the ball. So I'm excited to see what those guys bring to the table. I think Murphy's skill set's closest thing to McCoy. And from what I read today, he was the one taking backup reps. And I know Ivory's had some injury history, so it wouldn't be surprising for me to see them kind of like really try to balance that out between those two. They don't want one guy taking too much of the load. They want to try to keep that even. And Marcus Murphy's the younger player. He's got, the more longevity. So I'd rather see him in the long run anyway. But I know Ivory has his place on this team, whether it's in short yardage or goal line or just needing a tough couple of yards. Yeah. So, and that's it, guys. I really hope, outside looking in just joined, started talking. Thanks for coming in, bro. Going on 30 minutes here. Thanks for coming in on a holiday. I appreciate it. Hopefully we have some good. It's going to be interesting to see who they. I don't know if they sign anybody prior to this game, but I think maybe next week we'll see a guy or two join this team, whether it's an offensive lineman or a wide receiver. I saw before they were working out Paxton Lynch. I know some people are going to have their little hot take to say about that. If they want to take a flyer on a young quarterback, big with a big arm, go right ahead. I don't care. But we'll see. It's all good, man. This is all for fun. There's no schedule. There's no mandates. It's all to come in here, talk Bills, and have fun, and keep it respectful. That's it. My opinion's no better than you guys who show me enough respect to use your time to come in and chat with me. So I'm not here trying to run shit or dictate shit. I'm just here to enjoy you guys' time equally, as you're hopefully enjoying mine, because I ramble a lot. You gotta tell me to shut up sometimes. But yeah, I don't think anything goes on tomorrow. I think Tuesday it's I got to get caught up on the weeks. It's Monday practice, Tuesday off, treatment day. Injuries look good. No glaring injuries. I know Kyle had a wrap, but he looks like he's moving around well, thankfully. He had a wrap on his knee. Speaking about Harrison Phillips, we'll probably see him play. I think they're really going to limit Kyle in the first couple of weeks. Just have him only in on obvious passing down situations. Try to not only keep him fresh throughout the year and healthy, but just make sure that knee is okay and 100% at some point, or as close to 100% at some point. So you're going to see a lot of Phillips, Latulele, Washington. I know Trent Murphy kicks that inside on some passing downs, so they're really going to try to spell Kyle as much as possible and keep him fresh. So I would look for that. And on defense, I'll be watching Tremaine Edmonds as much as possible. I want to see how I'll be horrified. I'm not going to lie. I'll be horrified when any pass goes towards Vontae Davis. I'm surprised he made the 53. We'll see how that goes. I don't know how long he is for the 53, but we'll see. They did bring in another corner with Ryan Lewis, but maybe a starting caliber corner at some point that's got some experience, a veteran that they don't have to guarantee his contract to. That's why they signed those guys week 2 as opposed to week 1. Yeah, Brashard Perryman. Nate Orchard was another guy due to work out, a pass rusher who missed a sack on Josh Allen's touchdown to Rod Streeter in the preseason game. So it's kind of interesting that they're bringing him in for a workout. But you know, this team defense wants to roll. They want to rotate guys in, have fresh bodies as much as possible. And I'll be honest, Shaq Lawson hasn't done much to impress me. Eddie Yarborough's an all hustle, all go guy. So I'm fine with him, but I need to see Trent Murphy finally get on the field and do something. You know, Jerry always brings it. You know, he's a knucklehead, but he always gives his best effort, even though he's a little bit of a bonehead. And Kyle, when he's able, you know, he's going to give 100%. You know, Star, that's a guy they vouch for. So, you know, he's going to give it his all. And, of course, Harrison Phillips is going to – he's definitely a lunch pail guy. He's going to give it his all, too. So, all right, guys, I'm going to cut off here. It's been 31 minutes. Thanks for coming in. I know I've said goodbye a few times, but, yeah, it's almost 8. You guys have a good week. Hopefully come talk Friday if in case anything happens, if somebody signs, if something – who knows? Any sort – you never know what type – anything could happen, right? So you guys have a good one. Take care. Go Bills. Appreciate all you guys for coming in. Thank you so much.